And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Abbotsford Small Business, where you can find us at abbotsfordsmallbusiness.blogspot.com. Catchy tune, huh? So today, you would not believe the amount of frustrating work I've had to go through since I've upgraded from Windows 7. It has been an education. See, I'm one of these guys that I don't break things. Software lasts me for a million years, and so does hardware. So, I mean, I've got some shirts in the closet that I've had for over 15 years, and they're still brilliant. So I'm very easy on stuff. So the broadcast studio computer is running, or was running on XP. And my notebook computer was running on Vista, and my wife's laptop was running on XP as well. So I decided that I was going to be brilliant and go out and get a 3-pack license for Windows 7. And it's not a bad deal. I think at Costco it's like $180, okay? So if you're running XP any version, if you're running Vista any version, I think, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure any version, you can just pick it up and bring it home, and as long as it fits the hardware specifications, you can run it. One of the snags that I ran into was this. I got all excited because I thought, okay, my wife has a Toshiba Cosmo, a big honking notebook computer. It's huge. It's like 17 inches. And it's, my goodness, this January it's going to be 7 years old. And she's really easy on her equipment as well. Mostly because we always, when we use our notebook computers, we always use a cooler on them, period. So that's one of the reasons they last so long. So I thought, well, I will just update her machine to from XP to Windows 7. Not that easy. It met all the specifications. It had a gigahertz processor or better. It was way better. It had to have 1 gigahertz of RAM. It has 2. It had to have, a couple of more things. And I thought, brilliant, okay, so I can do this, right? Turns out that Toshiba, in all their wisdom, did not write drivers for Windows 7 for the Cosmo G20, which is an antiquated computer. So I had to reload XP on it, and I'm working. They say there is a way that you can run Windows 7 on some of these older notebooks, but it can cause challenges. So I'm going to take a look, and I'll give you an update, because I know there's a lot of people out there that own older notebook computers, and they'd really like to upgrade all of their computing equipment. We've got, let's see, 5 or 6 computers in our home. So upgrading is a big deal, and now they don't support Windows XP unless you have Service Pack 3, and soon they're going to, just completely dump that operating system. So do yourself a favor, go out and upgrade, but be prepared for, I would say, if you got a couple of computers, a half a day, you got to back everything up, right? And in some cases, you're going to find duplicate files, but don't let that worry you. It's better to have duplicates than not save it at all. And then B, you've got to actually load it and make sure that everything loads back correctly. In my estimation, it is best to flatten the drive, and I mean completely wipe the drive out. When you go into the initial setup for Windows 7, it will give you 2 choices. It'll say upgrade or custom. My suggestion to you is choose custom. And the reason for this is this. If you flatten the drive, there's absolutely nothing left. No files left whatsoever that are going to give you trouble. No old drivers, no old, even if you have files on there that might have a virus or malware, they're not going to bother you because they just completely get rid of everything. But if you upgrade, you stand the chance of keeping some files there that may give you trouble in the long run. Also, Windows 7 does not play nicely with some things, but normally I've done 2 computers now on Windows 7, and I found it quite easy to work with, and I like it. So now is the time to upgrade, because there's a lot of Christmas specials on software. And as I say, a 3 license, family license from Costco for $180, that's not bad for Windows 7. So if you have multiples, head on down to Costco. All right, let's start our podcast out tonight by saying this, focusing on business ideas and concepts. And what we're all about here is we want to focus on small and medium-sized businesses. What I think would interest you growing your business, using technology in your business, and the latest, greatest news and stuff. And I've posted a couple of businesses on our website that I think are doing just a tremendous job. One of them is Anne Marie's Cafe. The other is Gourmet, Fraser Valley Gourmet, that they make a beautiful almond butter crunch. And I forget the other one. I'm going to be compiling a whole bunch of businesses and put, Mike's Stakeout, which is just down the hill here. And I value Mike's opinion on everything for the barbecue grill. So give Mikey a call. Take a look first at the videos and see what you think. And then what I'll try to do is I'll put their name and address and phone number on the actual video, so you can just phone them up. All right, so let's get into the podcast today. So the first one that we want to talk about, which mouse am I grabbing? I have multiple keyboards. I have these keyboards that are rubber. Have you seen those? And they roll up to about this size. It's just fantastic. And then you roll them out. And I have two of them, right, one level above the other, and then I have a couple of mice. So at times you'll see me grab the wrong mouse. Okay, so startups are difficult. So let me go. This is an article from uncrunched.com. With the heading Unpaid Blogger, November 27th, 2011. Startups are hard, so work more, cry less, and quit all the whining. You know what I've noticed? See, there's two camps to this, isn't there? There's people that say if you open up a business, you've got to work 12 hours, 16 hours, the first 8 hours for yourself, and then the other 8 hours for your business so it can grow. If you keep up a regimen of 16-hour days, 7 days a week, you are soon going to wear yourself out, and you won't enjoy your business. So, in my opinion, our business coach came over, Deborah Reynolds, and she was brilliant. She sat down, first of all, and she said, look, if you're going to go into business, you really need to put a couple of things in perspective. A, you need to get your, if you're religious, you need to get your faith in order. And I thought, what a nice thing. She said, you also need to get your spouse on board if they're going to support you, because if they're not going to support you, you're going to have a really difficult time in business. And you have to have proper playtime. You have to have downtime and rest time so you can properly grow your business. Because if you, as I say, if you're working 16-hour days and you soon become starting to resent the thing that you used to love, which was your business, that's probably why a lot of businesses go under. And you don't necessarily have to work harder, you just have to work smarter. And we will discuss that through these series of podcasts. Hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so it says here in the article, he said, I slept at work late last night, 2.5 hours curled up in a quilt underneath my desk from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. or so. That was when I woke up with a start, realizing that I was late for a meeting, but it was no big deal. We had just had the meeting later. It's hard for someone to hold it against you when you miss a meeting because you've been at work so long that you've passed out from exhaustion. I used to do this myself personally when I was managing high-fashion footwear retail stores. When the head office was coming in and you had to completely revamp your store and do your merchandising and get your sales up and get all your paperwork done, I pulled a couple of all-nighters, so I know what he's talking about. And he goes on to say, suddenly everyone's complaining about how unfair things are in Silicon Valley. Oh, by the way, I just finished reading or listening to the book, Steve Jobs. It is a 24-hour book, and you can get it at Audible. And the nice thing about Audible, and I'm going to do a complete podcast on Audible, but the nice thing about Audible is this. They will allow you, I think it's 2 books for free, so you can download them, just to try out the service. And once you download a couple of audiobooks, I guarantee that you will be hooked, because what it does is it saves so much time. When I'm doing the dishes, when I'm washing the car, when I'm doing activities, when I'm vacuuming, when I'm doing that, I can download it to my smartphone, put in my earplugs, and listen to a book. And the thing is, if you want to get motivational things and things for your business and books like that, get them at Audible. Try them for 2 books free, and then tell me what you think. Give us our phone number is 778-800-0246 or our email, abbotsfordsmallbusiness@gmail.com. I really want to see how you feel about Audible, because I can't live without it, honestly. It is such a huge time saver. Between the Audible and podcasts, that's how I find the research for doing this podcast show. So check it out at Audible, audible.com, audible.com. First 2 books, I believe, are free. Okay, suddenly everyone's complaining about how unfair things are in Silicon Valley and how hard everyone has to work, so darn hard, and how some people don't get venture capital or a nice sale to Facebook or Google, even though lots of people are getting those things. Silicon Valley is an unfair place. Say all of the headlines. The CNN racism document was just one piece of this. Another are the cries from the press that Zynga would actually consider renegotiating contracts with highly compensated employees no longer pulling their weight. You know who Zynga are, eh? Zynga are the people that do Words with Friends, which my wife is highly addicted to. Expect more articles soon about the woes of being asked to work hard at a startup. People are working so hard, they're crying themselves to sleep. That's a pity. Because as I say, if you're putting in so much work and time at work that you start resenting your business, that's an indicator. That's a bad thing. Okay, so he goes on to say, I saw Ian today, and for the first time in months, his first words were, wow, you look like poop. But he doesn't say that. He says, I'm really strung out and twitchy. I thought I'd been doing okay. I got a full night's sleep last night and everything. I have no life. I've never seen any of my non-work friends, and I'm wasting away my one and only youth. I ought to be doing fun things and active things, the kind of things I won't be able to do when my mind and body finally decay. But instead, I'm stuck inside under fluorescent lights, pushing bits around inside a computer in ways that are only interesting to other nerds. I got that too when I was at the stream, the call center. You just talk to nerds all day. I glanced at a movie listing, and there are movies out there that I haven't even heard of. How did that happen? That freaks me out. I bought some wrist braces at a drugstore, and I've been typing them for a couple of days. Wrist braces. Oh, I've been typing with them for a couple of days. Okay, so he's talking about RSI, right? Repetitive strain injury. I don't think it's helping much. My middle finger doesn't hurt quite as much, but my ring finger is just as bad. This job is destroying my body. This can't be worth it. You know, here's the deal. When Deborah came over, and she said, I got to tell you a couple of things about business. If you're not prepared to do this, and prioritize, and have fun with it, and take your spouse on date nights as well as your business life, there must be balance. Do not open up a business. You're likely going to be happier if you just have a regular job, but for those that have a passion and know that there's something better out there that they need to be doing, that they must be doing, that they've been called to do, then you got to open up your own business. It's just that simple. Okay, and well, the kids went out to get drunk, or rather more drunk. I think they might actually gone out to a strip club. How classy is that? Oh, good. The kids are back, and they're well hammered. None of them can walk properly, and they just keep bumping into cubicle walls and making everything on my desk shake. Since I'm not drunk, the impedance mismatch makes it impossible for me to carry on a conversation with them, so I'll just try to block them out. But now they're all playing networked doom at top volume. So in order to concentrate, I have to wear headphones with music on at top volume myself. And even that doesn't quite work. Since I've mentioned, they keep making the mistake of trying to walk, and they're making all this poop on my desk bounce around. So obviously what he's doing is he's keeping a little bit of a diary of what it's like to be a programmer. Sad things, but true. So I think you'll find that interesting article. It's a long article too. And then the people that comment on it says, there's no end to what you can achieve when you have the vision, determination, and an endless supply of expendable labor diluted by the promise of fame and fortune. I completely agree with Jamie. Why should we be using up people and when there's absolutely nothing left, trading them out there for a new sucker? Why should we really treat them this way? Why the heck do we think that in order to make it, we need to burn ourselves out? What happens after the burnout? I can tell you. Depression, lack of concentration, and a bitterness towards any promise of wealth. All the money and success in the world doesn't mean a thing if you're too sick to even notice them. Some mention of a history textbook isn't worth the monumental sacrifice of so many people in my life. So I wanted to give you this one for sure, to put it at the front of the podcast to say, We've all been there. We work our knuckles to the bone. But you know what? Try an experiment. Try cutting back a little bit and seeing if you don't, okay. So this is another thing that Deborah said. She said, if your business can't have you step away from it for a little while, then you need to restructure your business. Because what happens if you're sick? What happens if you're incapacitated? What happens if you want to take an extended holiday? Can you or have you put in place the wherewithal and a system so your business will be able to take care of itself? If you're a one-person operation, it's more difficult, but there are ways to do it, and we will be covering that in other podcasts. So let's go on to number 2. You're going to love it. Guys, you're going to love this. It's called, when it loads up on my computer, Toilet Technology Targets Urinal Boredom. Now watch this. This is brilliant. See, I really appreciate things that are interesting, humorous, very, very unique, and can make money as well. So here there's a picture of a wall of urinals with no dividers. And it says, there is not much choice. Stare blankly at the wall tiles, focus on shoes with face set in a grimace, or maybe whistle. When men use a public urinal, they are cruelly left out in full view with nothing to do than answer nature's call. True. Until now. Or you got to see this. They have little video games here. British company Captiva Media thinks it's developed a product that fills a gap in the market. A urinal-mounted, urinal-controlled games console for men. This is hilarious. You've got to see this. It's called the first hands-free video gaming console of its time. The sturdy device sits above the normal oval ceramic urinal bowl, opening up a whole new world of entertainment. The user is presented with 3 generous targets to aim in the urinal. Stickers in the unit that read start, left, and right. The console is able to detect where the urine is falling by means of an infrared device. Don't heat it up and make it into a laser. You have to get things pretty hot. And it's so rudimentary joystick is set up. Oh, this is just too funny. This is too funny. Bog standard. Games and offering include a skiing challenge and a multiple-choice pub quiz. Once they finish their business, customers can use their mobile phones to post their scores to Twitter and a live leaderboard. Oh, no, this is too good. This is too good. The console unit has a 12-inch LCD screen and sits behind toughened glass, so it can withstand collateral damage and can be easily cleaned. Good. So it's just right at eye level for the guy. The sensor unit is contactless and does not use a camera. Another important design consideration. Windows 7 embedded, and it is powered by one of Intel's Atom dual-core microprocessors. Oh, this, you know what? I love this. Now, Japan's got something. It says, Eureka Moment. A similar product has already been launched by Sega in Japan. However, the co-developer in the UK device says the product has some compelling design features. The equipment has multiple sensors, allowing for a more sophisticated input device. It uses infrared rather than microwave sensors, and they are fitted to the external console rather than added to the urinal bowl itself. As a result, Captive Media says that 90% of bowls in the UK are retrofittable. Oh, this is good. You don't have to touch the plumbing, Gordon McSween assures. Time, gentlemen. Tray Paper Adweek calculates that on average men are rooted to the spot for 55 seconds while they relieve themselves. 9 months over the course of their lifetime. In the UK, 9 months over the course of their life. Holy smokes, standing up and going pee. In the UK, this means that 1 billion minutes a year, an ideal opportunity to hit users with targeted advertising to order to relieve them of cash later on. Bars can use the consoles to push drink promotions in the venue. When they buy the product, they are given 1/4 of the advertising slots that are available in and a veto on the external ones that will be sold to third party. It's notoriously difficult for brands to engage a young male audience whilst they're out socializing, argues McSween. And Captive Media offers a long dwell time. It is allowing brands to really engage in a fun and memorable way, his co-developer Mark Melford adds. One organization that has already signed up is DrinkAware, a charity that promotes responsible drinking. However, it remains to be seen whether other brands will come on board in significant numbers. I think this is brilliant. Now, okay, so let's put on our thinking caps and find out how you could complement that. Somebody's going to come up with a complementary technology that's going to work with these people or somehow complement what they're doing. And maybe it's in the form of advertising, that they're going to come up and approach these guys. So I think you get a real kick out of number 2. The headline, toilet gaming technology targets urinal boredom. That's hilarious. Alrighty, what the heck is Net Talk number 3? I keep getting these advertisements for Net Talk, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so for $29.95 each additional year. So Net Talk is something that you plug in, and I'll tell you about it. Because for business owners, it might be just up your alley. Crystal clear calling, starting as low as $29.95 a year. Now, I have Magic Jack, and I really like Magic Jack. With the Net Talk Duo, you can stay in touch with friends and family anywhere in the world. Calls to the U.S. and Canada from duo to duo calls are always free. Net Talk also offers enhanced call plans, so calling overseas has never been more affordable. Whether you're subscribed to the basic call plan or enhanced call plan, you can expect to save big with Net Talk's versatile and portable phone service. Take a look at this. This is really interesting. It's a little machine about the size of a package of cigarettes. And it says, North American add-on includes calls to the U.S., Canada, Puerto Rico, and Mexico, $70 a year. Purchase now. Free calling to the U.S. and Canada, free calling duo. Excuse me. 1 year of service included with the purchase of the Duo. So how much does a Duo cost? It doesn't say. Purchase now, view our rates, low call international rates. So it's by Net Talk. Take a look at this, because you might like it. I mean, if I didn't already have a Magic Jack, I would, let's click on the buy button. Let's do that. That's always a smart move, isn't it? $69.95 includes device and 1 year of service. Each additional year is $29.95 plus taxes. Pretty good little thing. Included in the pack, 1 Net Talk Duo, CC and FCC approved, power adapter with regional appropriate connector, 3-foot USB to Mini A connector used to connect power adapter or to computer USB port, 3-foot Ethernet cable to connect to modem or router, and a quick start guide. So take a look at this. It looks pretty good. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and free return shipping. In the news, press release. Okay, announces new talk area codes. So it's kind of like a Magic Jack on steroids, it looks like. As I say, I'd be interested in this if I didn't have Magic Jack. That is number 3. Products, Duo, video phone, smartphone app. Smartphone app? Let's take a look at the smartphone app. Make free calls to the U.S. and Canada without using your minutes. Okay, free calls, connectivity through Wi-Fi, Edge, 3G or 4G, record conversations, import your contacts from your phone. Hey, you guys, so this will also work with your phone. So give it a look-see. Order by phone, 1-800-987-2262. Tell the people about that. Yeah, number 3. Sure. Number 4, how was Black Friday and Cyber Monday for your business? Hey, listen, this is normally a big thing in the States, isn't it? How does your business do? Does your business hold a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday? And if it doesn't, should you? Should you be thinking about it? Black Friday and Cyber Monday, U.S. internet sales surge. And you know what I heard? I was listening to Leo Laporte the other day. And Black Friday, they don't give you much of a discount. As a matter of fact, Apple went way out, and they blew the top of everything off. They offered 10% off Apple products. Still expensive. Okay, online sales rose faster than expected on Black Friday, according to surveys. Internet sales totaled $816 million, a 26% gain on last year. IBM Core Metrics put the rise at least at 24%. Black Friday, the day after American Thanksgiving, is treated by many retailers as the start of the Christmas holiday season. They offer one-off discounts to mark the occasion. Analysts said heavy promotional activity helped drive demand. No kidding. By comparison, a report of ShopperTrack suggested that an in-store Black Friday sales were up by 7%. Beating the rush, and that's what they do. That's why they do it. Mobile shopping. Now you're gonna find this interesting. IBM Core Metrics also noted a trend towards shopping on smartphones and tablet computers. It said Black Friday purchases made on mobile devices had accounted for more than 9.8% of all online sales. So that's almost 10%, compared to 3.2 last year. So mobile, I mean, if you're not getting on the mobile bandwagon, you're missing a huge opportunity. And we will be doing in the future podcasts just on mobile technology. IBM described mobile shoppers as having had a laser focus since they had been more likely to view a single page on a retailer site rather than browse for what else was on sale. IBM said Apple's iPhone and iPad had generated the most mobile internet visits on online stores, accounting for more than double the traffic originating from devices running Google's Android system. The company noted that it also had a jump in Black Friday-related chatter on social networks. It recorded a 110% rise in discussion volumes after consumers had shared tips on how to secure products before they sold out the best places to park. Oh, did you hear about that woman? Black Friday, right, in the United States. She went to get a game, and I believe it was, I forget what it was. And the game was regular $300 and it was $100 off. So she gets in line, and she brought a big can of pepper spray, always something that you should take to Walmart when you're going shopping. And the doors opened, and she figured that somebody was stepping in front of her, and she started pepper spraying people. And do you know that they phoned the ambulance? And a couple of ambulances had to arrive, and they treated over 20 people for pepper spray. I mean, this woman is out of her mind. First, you have to think in your mind about pepper spraying someone. That's the first, and then you have to go out and actually buy the pepper spray, and then you actually have to walk down there instead of going on the internet and possibly getting it, or instead of just getting the extra money. This person pepper sprayed 20 people. Then she fled the scene. A little bit strange for me. So I think Black Friday at a Walmart, no thanks. Occupy Wall Street, have you had enough? Now, I don't know about you, but we had the Occupy Vancouver, and it was getting a little bit long in the tooth. People were camping, and then it turned pretty ugly and pretty dumb, because then what happened is their message got diluted to the point where it just started to tick people off, and they said enough is enough. So let's go and take a look at number 5, Occupy Wall Street. We'll let it load up. This is by Venture Beat. Said how I explained Occupy Wall Street to my kids with Hershey Kisses. There's a video there, and I think that's a good idea. What does it mean to be the 99%, and why is everyone so mad at the top 1%? I decided to explain it to my daughter and sons, aged 10 and 5, in terms of candy. One recent Friday afternoon, I bought 2 bags of Hershey Kisses and went down to the Occupy SF encampment, San Francisco encampment, a few blocks from Venture Beach headquarters. I was armed with some hard statistics. For income distribution, I used an analysis from the U.S. Census. See the bottom of the page for this graph. For wealth distribution, I used some figures cited by a sociology professor at UC Santa Clara, not the most impartial source, but the data seems good. The graph of wealth distribution is right here. So here's what he did. I counted out 100 kisses to represent wealth and another 100 to represent annual income. In reality, the wealth pie is probably bigger than the income pie. You need 300,000 to 400,000 of income to be in the top 1%, or the 1.2 million in net worth. But this would do for explaining things to kids. We rounded up 10 volunteers from Occupy San Francisco. Then we proceeded to hand out candies in rough proportion to how they'd be distributed in the U.S. If they were dollars and the 10 people were the whole population of the country, this video is the result. Pretty good video, by the way. I actually got mixed up on the count partway through the video in the income distribution part. My daughter was the very last person in line. Should have received just 1 Hershey Kiss, but I'd already given them all away, so she got none. But as you can see from her reaction, that she understands the point. So take a look at this video. I think it's a good way to explain. You know what? When somebody wants to explain, get a grip on something, if you try to explain it to a child, adults get on there and say, oh, I get that. And sometimes that's the easiest way. Don't explain it as a grown-up. Explain it as a child. And take a look at the video. And that is number 5. I like the video. Now, are you doing business in Turkey? And I don't mean the bird. Turkey is the next biggest biz bubble, and I don't mean the bird. So let's go take a look at Turkey. This is another one from VentureBeat. Last week I visited Turkey and discovered what a lot of people are saying about this fascinating country. It's the next developing hotspot for technology startups. Did you know that? Especially for e-commerce. So instead of looking at China, looking at Japan, looking at all the other places, Turkey is coming up. Or looking at India. The sector is exploding. The Turkish e-commerce market hit $10.6 billion in the first 6 months of the year, compared to $16.3 billion for all of 2010. And after years of neglecting Turkey, U.S. and other investors are now starting to flock there. Investment capital isn't gushing full bore yet, as investors assess this still emerging market, but 2011 is the year when the spigot was first turned on. Until this year, Turkey looked like a backwater. Silicon Valley regularly sees private companies valued in the hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars, by venture capitalists who invest in them. But in Turkey, no private company has been valued as high as even 100 million, according to Sina Afra, co-founder of one of the largest e-commerce companies in Turkey. But in 2011, that all changed. First, eBay acquired 93% of Turkey's largest auction site, Gidori, I think I pronounced that wrong, in a deal rumored to value the company at $215 million. The South African media conglomerate Naspers acquired 70% of Marcafoni, one of Turkey's largest private shopping companies, in a deal valuing Marcafoni of about $200 million. A value confirmed by my sources. Marcafoni is also an owner of Zizigo, the largest online shoe retailer in Turkey. Yes, a self-acknowledged copycat of the U.S. shoe retailer Zappos. The list of firsts this year continues. So if you're not doing a business in Turkey, or if you're thinking of startup in Turkey, this might be a good thing to look at. And it goes on, and it gives you a nice little graph here. One prerequisite of e-commerce is a credit-driven economy, and Turkey has this big time. Turkey has an astonishing 62% credit card penetration rate among consumers. My trip was limited to Istanbul, which is a relatively modern city as far as Turkey's city goes, to be sure. But almost everywhere I went, even the smallest shop owners accepted credit cards. In the freewheeling Grand Bazaar, I bought a pair of jeans from a small vendor, and he took my card gladly, as did a small shop where I bought a ceramic bowl. Even a small dilapidated snack stand where I bought a bottle of water near my hotel welcomed credit cards, and they do so without wince that you often get from the small U.S. business owners when you pull out a credit card. Turkey's credit penetration rate is second only in Europe to the UK. But I've got the feeling Turkey might overtake the UK soon. Businesses seem more eager to take credit cards than in the UK. I say this more anecdotally, to be sure, but it hit me when the two relatively established grocery merchants in respectable North London declined my credit card. One of them did accept a debit payment last week. Interesting. Another e-commerce prerequisite is logistics, and here too Turkey has grouping of several shipping firms that can deliver products anywhere in a radius of more than 350 miles around Istanbul within 24 hours. That's fast. I think in Canada we're faced with geographical challenges, but that is really, really fast. So take a look at that article. I think you're going to find that one interesting. Build a $500 million dollar company in 500 days. And this is from VentureBeat again, Interpreting Innovation. Mike Cassidy, you know him? Mike Cassidy? No one embodies the classic sniff-it-out serial entrepreneur more than Mike Cassidy, who has now built and sold 4 companies: Stylus Innovation, Direct Hit, Xfire, and Aruba, some of them with very impressive exits. Last week, Cassidy traveled to Turkey for a startup event, and he talked about what he does. Below right is one of the slides he showed of the audience of about 200 entrepreneurs and investors. It documents the milestones he hit while building Direct Hit, which he sold 500 days after it started for $532 million to Ask Jeeves. Wow, wouldn't we all love to do that? I've been soaking up the lore of Silicon Valley for the past 10 years, but something about Cassidy's talk still grabbed me. With infectious energy, Cassidy takes the classic tenets of entrepreneurship and douses steroids on them. For the uninitiated, Cassidy's recommendations looked a tad perverse, but the results, like former SF Giants Barry Bonds' home runs, are effective, to be sure. Cassidy is not the recipe used by folks like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, and Bill Gates, who think especially long-term when building their companies. It's the recipe for extremely quick exit. It's the second of the two dominant strands in company building. So what he's saying is, grab a company, build it, get out of there, and move on to the next company. Raise funds in a single day is one of his high points. Ideas in 2 weeks. Team in 2 weeks. 3.5 months to launch. Deal with hard deadlines. Raise smaller rounds. And so that's his main point. So take a look. This is a really fascinating article. You know, when I look and I watch Leo Laporte on Twit TV, he has grown and grown exponentially. But he said something very interesting last week. He said he wants to stop growing his business because if he grows too big, he will lose his focus. And he's doing something really interesting. Go and take a look at www.twit.tv, not .com, but .tv. Take a look at some of his shows. And what he does is he has a special niche where he appeals to a lot of people, but it is a niche nonetheless. And he says he does not want to go too general or too big because he'll lose audience. Did you know that you can make a very tidy income with just a couple of hundred people, hardcore people that are dedicated to your site, your services, and your goods on the internet? It's true. And in future podcasts, we'll be talking about that as well. I want to specialize. I want to be able to bring things to small and medium-sized businesses in Abbotsford that you can hit the ground running and use those things. Investors are unfriending social media. You're going to find this interesting, too, because everybody's getting on the social media bandwagon, and they think this is it. Social media is where to go. Listen to this. This is from All Things D. Investors are unfriending social media. The tech IPOs floated like butterflies. Now they're stinging like bees. On Wednesday, shares of Groupon dropped below $20 a share price of the Daily Deals company recent $805 million initial public offering. Now, one thing about Groupon I've got to tell you. I'm going to mention it at the end of this podcast. There was a woman in England, and she signed up for Groupon, and she makes muffins. And she had some ridiculous number, like 75% off or something. And she didn't know, or she didn't protect herself and put a stop on the deal. But the deal went out, and she's lost an entire year's worth of profit because of all the specials that she sold on Groupon. Groupon can really help your business, but you have to be able to put the brakes on it. So if you're going to lose money with Groupon, don't do it. Say you're going to sell 1,000, you can afford to sell 1,000 units of whatever you're making at a loss at 70% off, and then stop the deal. You have that right, but she didn't know that. She was uninformed, and boy, oh boy, did she ever lose a lot of money. So Groupon is good to a point, but you really have to do your research. So, limiting the share float as part of their initial public offerings helped Groupon, LinkedIn, and Pandora Media achieve bubbly variations early on. But they have been since seen their share fall more than 30 to 40% from the first day's close. That's a lot. And this is probably the reason. Comments, this is so true, but we can see the better sustainability for the growth as well in the downside. Another one said, is anyone really surprised? No one can tell me that these companies actually do what their value is away from the dollar. None of these startups bring anything to the table. I don't know, I disagree. I think that Groupon has a very, very good idea. As a matter of fact, I get Groupon offers all the time in my inbox. I also have, I've signed up for another service on my phone, and I saw some local things in Abbotsford. Let me see if I can find it. It was called, what is it called? I can't remember. Oh, Egg Drop. EGGDROP, Egg Drop. I was really surprised. If you go and search on your smartphone for Egg Drop, it says, welcome to Egg Drop, and sure enough, I found some stuff in my immediate area. It's like a Craigslist, but they're doing a very, very nice job. There's right here, Italian bar, stool, table, $150. And it'll tell you right in your neighborhood as well. You can browse, you can search, you can sell, you can put info in there. It's really nice. And I've taken a look at it, and I've played with it, and it looks really good. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to give Craigslist a run for its money. So Groupon, yes, great idea. Make sure that when you deal with Groupon that you say, I have the ability to stop this deal when it's sold out. Because sometimes when you go onto the Groupon website and the deal, it'll say sold out, but a lot of entrepreneurs don't know that they can put a cap on it. So be careful. Be careful, boys and girls out there, and protect your business. Some malls, you're going to like this, some malls track your whereabouts through your cell phone. Okay, editor's note. This is from Macworld. For some mall shoppers, Black Friday has become Track Friday, thanks to a snoopy piece of tech from a UK company called Path Intelligence. Some malls in Europe, Australia, and the United States will be tracking shoppers' movements today through their cell phones. A small number of discrete monitoring units installed throughout the mall, the company says, can grab signals from the consumer's mobile phones and track their movements with an accuracy of a few meters. That information is fed to a processing center, where it is audited and analyzed to create a real-time picture of traffic flow through a shopping center. Sneaky guys. I don't know. That information is fed to a processing center where it was audited and analyzed to create real-time traffic flow. Mall operators can keep constant tabs on the information through Path Intelligence secure web-based reporting system. Sorry, I repeated a line there. As you'd expect with someone engaged in this kind of unsettling activity, the company swears it's committed to protecting the privacy of people it's surveilling. Yeah, sure. Our detector units do not allow us to obtain your telephone number, to listen to any of your calls, read any SMS messages read or sent by you, or log details of any calls of SMS messages made or received by you. You know what's a slippery slope, though? They do this, and they open the door, don't they? Neither does any of the information received allow us identity to any group of individuals. 2 U.S. malls, Promenade Temecula in Southern California and Short Pump Town Center in Richmond, VA, will be launching a tracking service today, and it will use it, grab the wrong mouse, will use it through New Year's Day, according to a report by CNN. With the system, mall operators hope to gather information such as how many shoppers who visit one store also visit another, for example, how many Nordstrom shoppers also shop at Starbucks, how long a typical customer spends in a store. I don't know, this is kind of creepy for me. But this is the first time cell phones have been used to do it, CNN reported. We won't be looking at singular shoppers, really. Stephanie Shriver Engel, Vice President of Digital Strategy for Forest City Commercial Management, the outfit that manages both malls, told CNN. The system monitors patterns of movement. We can see, like migrating birds, where people are going. Yeah, like migrating sheep. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think you should be using it. But, hey, you knew that sometime in the future this was bound to happen or going to happen. So just beware out there. Thankfully, it hasn't hit Canada yet. Number 10, how job seekers are using mobile technology. Let's take a look at this. La-di-da. So come on and load up. The jobless rate is hovering around 9%, and job seekers have to be more savvy than ever to land a job. In fact, 77% of job seekers are using mobile apps in their search. Why mobile? For one thing, people almost always have their phones on them, which means that they can get job leads on the fly and respond faster than as their not-so-portable laptops. Not surprisingly, Android, which is dominating the smartphone market, is the most used OS for those on-the-go job seekers. Check out the infographic below to see how people are using their mobile apps and devices, and take a look at other career information on our weekly job search series. I did an experiment a couple of months ago, actually about a year ago. Moby.com, you ever heard of them? Check them out. A year ago, you could have gotten a free mobile space on the web. I think they're charging now. But I'm sure that there are other more free mobile places on the web that you can get. And to advertise, put up a website, I've actually gone so far as to get a .mobi domain for my business. And I think in Japan, they do almost all of their computing by cell phone. They have cell phones out there that are just absolutely crazy technology. Faster, more broadband, fast. It's ridiculous what they can do. As a matter of fact, on one of the next podcasts, I will tell you of a fellow that used to date my sister. He used to go to Japan all the time, and he gave me some really interesting stories of how the Japanese do business. They do business a lot different. Instead of when they write up a business plan, they don't do a 1 year and a 5 year and a 10 year. They'll do a 50-year business plan. It's really bizarre. But hey, to each his own, and they seem to be in many areas of commerce, they are leading the way. Guess what people bought on Black Friday? Let's go take a look. You'll be surprised. Another one from VentureBeat. Half of all Black Friday shoppers bought electronic gadgets. They're everywhere. Oh, by the way, on one of my other blogs, I came across GM. GM's got a new magnetic motor. It's an induction motor for their cars, and it's pretty tiny, and they're going to put it in one of their cars, and they can make it really, really, really cheaply. And I think it's going to revolutionize how GM is launching their electric car. Really interesting. So what I'll do is I do a podcast called Uncle Ricky at unclerickiradio.blogspot.com, .blogspot, and I will put up links so you can take a look at GM's new revolutionary magnetic induction engine. Okay, here we go. About half of all goods purchased over the Black Friday weekend were electronic gadgets. The survey estimated that 118 million Americans will shop Thursday through Monday, and consumer electronics trailed only clothes as the most popular gift purchased this weekend. Now, I have to tell you, this is December, 1st, 2nd, something like that, December 2nd? So we've long passed Thanksgiving. Black Friday shopping has fast become a Thanksgiving weekend tradition, like football or a post-turkey dinner nap for millions of shoppers, said Sean Druvabak, chief economist and director of the holiday shopping season. Got off to a strong start as many hit the stores or went home to kick off their holiday shopping as soon as they finished Thanksgiving dessert. These bargain hunters were able to find the deals they were after. About 48% of all shoppers bought or will buy consumer electronics from Thursday to Monday. Now, if you've got a business that has anything to do with electronics or here's the thing. We're going to be talking about, we're going to do podcasts in the future about how people, the trends that they follow and how they shop on their mobile phones. We've talked about how people are looking for jobs on their mobile phones. But more and more you're going to find that advertisers are hitting the mobile industry, and that's going to be so big and so huge for your business. It's surprising. As a matter of fact, they say that we are in the post-computer age. Number 12, social proof is the new marketing. What is social proof? Let's get into this here. The guest post written by Alan Lee, partner by venture firm Kleiner Perkins Caulfield and Byers, where she focuses on investing in consumer ventures, in internet ventures. Full disclosures. I love these full disclosures. Some of the companies mentioned below the KPCB-backed companies, including ones King Lion, Clout, and Plum District, both of which count Lee as a board member. You can read about more. I mean, come on. Are you stacking the deck here or what? But let's see what she says. I think she has a legitimate thing to say. As I've written about before, we're in an amazing period of consumer internet. Despite a shaky economy, many web companies are in hypergrowth. This is reminiscent of the 5-year period over a decade ago when companies like Amazon, Netscape, eBay, Yahoo, Google, and PayPal were built. Now, in Canada, I mean, I talk to quite a few business owners, and a lot of the business owners I talk to say they have had the best year of 2011 that they've ever had. And some of these people have been in business 15 and 20 years. I don't get it. Do you know that they're saying that during a recession or a depression that a lot of millionaires are made because they're strategically placing their business exactly out in front with the trends that will help them with their business. So what is social proof? Put simply, it's the positive influence created when someone finds out that others are doing something. It's also known as informational social influence. Okay, so to further explain, Wikipedia describes social proof as a psychological phenomenon where people assume the actions of others reflect the correct behavior for a given situation, driven by the assumption that the surrounding people possess more information about the situation. In other words, people are wired to learn from the actions of others, and this can be a huge driver of consumer behavior. I'm going to have to read more because it's a little fuzzy. Consider the social proof of a line of people standing behind a velvet rope, waiting to get into a club. The line makes most people walking by want to find out what's worth the wait. Ever stood in line for an Apple device? There you go. The digital equivalent of the velvet rope helped build virtual growth for initially invite-only launches like Gmail, Gilt Group, Spotify, and Tunable FM. True. Professor Robert Cialdini, a thought leader in social psychology, has many examples. In one study, his team tested messages to influence reusing towels in hotel rooms. The social proof message, almost 75% of other guests helped by using their towels more than once, had 25% better results than all messages. And adding the words of other guests that stayed in this room had even more impact. Also an example of how A/B testing of small details matter. In marketing, that's really, really important. In another study, a restaurant increased sales by specific dishes by 13 to 20% just by highlighting them as our most popular items. SP also works on your subconscious. It's the reason why comedy shows often a laugh track or audience. People actually laugh more when they can hear other people laughing. 5 types of social proof. If you're a digital startup, and this is for people that don't have brick and mortar, right? Building and highlighting your social proof is the best way for new users to learn about you. And engineering your product to generate social proof and to be shared through social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, and others can multiply the discovery of your product and its influence. Think of it as building the foundation for massively scaling word of mouth. Here's a teardown on various forms of social proof and how some savvy digital companies are starting to measure its impact. Okay, this is so interesting. I want to go on. Are you ready? 1. Expert social proof. A proof from a credible expert like a magazine or blogger can have incredible digital influence. Examples: visitors referred to by fashion magazine or blogger to design fashion rentals outline at Rent the Runway drives a 200% higher conversion rate than visitors driven by paid search. Interesting. Clout identifies people who are topical experts in the social web. Clout invited 217 influencers with high Clout scores in design, luxury, tech, and autos to test drive the new Audi A8. These influencers sparked 3,500 tweets, reaching over 3.1 million in less than 30 days, a multiplier effect of 14,000 times. Now, this is my point. You got to give some stuff away. Like they're giving free test drives, right? Mom Conference daily offer site Plum District also reached mom influencers through Clout and found customers referred by influential digital moms shop at twice the rate of customers from all other marketing channels. 2. Celebrity social proof. Up to 25% of U.S. TV commercials have used celebrities to great effect, but only a handful of web startups have to date. Some results. In 1997, Priceline.com was one of the first web startups to use a celebrity endorser, William Shatner. Remember him? Not a traveler expert, but seemingly obsessed with saving customers money. It was a huge win. Priceline now has a $23 billion market cap, and a fee Shatner took in shares is estimated to be worth $600 million. Holy smokes, I want to do advertising for your startup. Wow. So Shatner made $600 million just from that. Oh, wow. Trendyol, the fastest growing fashion e-commerce company in Turkey. Here we go again, another tie to Turkey. Regularly launches merchandise campaigns with the endorsement of celebrities. This practice increases site traffic by 2.5 times, and product sell-through by 30%. ShoeDazzle, Launched with celebrity Kim Kardashian as chief stylist, her involvement helped leapfrog the company to an estimated $25 million in 2010 and $70 million in 2011 sales, plus a recent $40 million financing. Celebrity endorsement by Jessica Simpson and esthetician Nurda Joy recently helped Beauty Mint attract 500,000 visitors in the first 24 hours of its launch. Anybody that doesn't think the internet can help your business is wrong. Users, social proof. Direct TV marketers are masters at sharing user success stories. Fascination with this was actually the inspiration for this blog post. Companies mastering this digitally include more than 61 people visit Yelp. You've heard of Yelp? Check them out, YELP. Working on an upcoming IPO each month to read users' reviews. It's like a team, what's that one that I use? What's that one? TripAdvisor? Yeah, TripAdvisor. That's the one. User-generated videos, UGVs, are growing an important social proof phenomenon. Early visitors to ShoeDazzle watched more than 9 UGVs on average, helping catapult sales. And user testimonials on YouTube drove 3 times conversion rate versus organic visitors for Beachbody, the makers of P90X Fitness. You've seen that all over in Costco and things. Negative user social proof is also important to track. The first negative user review on eBay has been shown to reverse a seller's weekly growth rate from 5% to negative 8%. It also hurts pricing. A 1% increase in negative feedback has been shown to lead to a 7.5% decrease in sales price realized. Wow. Wisdom of the crowd's social proof. Ray Kroc started using social proof in 1955 by hanging an over 1 million served sign at the first McDonald's. Highlighting popularity by large numbers of users implies 1 million people can't be wrong. Some digital examples. Fashion e-tailer ModCloth enables its community to be the buyer by voting on which styles they think ModCloth should sell in the future. Shoppers should take strong cues from the community. Styles with the Be the Buyer badge sells 2 times the velocity of unbadged styles. This is fascinating. Callaway Digital Arts finds that when any of their kids' iPads apps are listed as the top 10 most popular app in the iTunes Store top charts, daily downloads vault 10 times over the prior week. But being the number 1 most popular app drives 30 to 50% more daily downloads than being number 2. Green tech company OpHour uses social proof to help reduce electricity consumption. It works. OpHour sees an 80% response rates to emails citing how households' use compares with its neighborhood. Little friendly competition there. Which has driven more than 500 million kilowatts of hours of savings so far. This stuff works, ladies and gentlemen. Number 5, wisdom of your friend's social proof. Learning from friends through the social web is likely the killer app of the social proof in terms of one-on-one impact and the potential to grow virally. Some examples. Friends inviting friends to play through Facebook and other social networks helped Zynga grow from 3 million to 41 million average daily users in just 1 year from 2008 to 2009. Moms, arguably the most valuable demographic on the social web, rely heavily on friends and family's recommendations. A recent Baby Center study showed moms rely on the wisdom of their friends, 67% more than average shoppers. And they rely on social media 243% more than the general population. Are you kidding? That's crazy. That is huge. 243% more than the general population. Friends referred by friends make better customers. They spend more, 2 times higher estimated lifetime value than customers from all other channels at One Kings Lane. Converts better, 75% higher conversion than renters from other marketing channels at Rent the Runway. And shop faster. They made their first purchase after joining twice as quickly than referrals from the other channels at Trendoil. You know, this is such a huge market, and this is such a huge territory. And we're going to break it down into small, bite-sized chunks so you can understand it. You see what trends are coming up. You see what people... You know, quite often I look at the U.S. and what they're doing, and they do business differently than BC or Canada in quite a few instances. Demographics plays a part. Education plays a part. Of course, income plays a part as well. They're having a really, really tough time. I mean, people are selling their automobiles and their expensive motorcycles and boats just to keep their homes. So they have a little bit different psychology behind their buyers, their motivation, and also the way they do business down in the States. So what we're going to do is hopefully we can find out what makes local businesses up in Abbotsford work, and give you the tools, the technology-based tools and tricks to grow your business the way that you want to see your business grow. Ladies and gentlemen, I have had a lot of fun, and there's a couple more here. Let's take a look at Google+. And also, I mentioned using Groupon, so that was number 14. Be careful when you use Groupon. Groupon's a great tool, but make sure that you put a stop order on how many units that you can sell at that discount. And Groupon is going to say, look, if you don't go 50 to 70% off, we're not even going to entertain doing business with you. And sometimes that'll work, but just be prepared to put the brakes on. You don't want to lose a whole year's worth of profit like that poor woman over in England. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the show. This is Abbotsford Small Business, and you can again find us at Abbotsford Small Business at blogspot.com. Hope to see you in another podcast episode. And this weekend, December 2 to the 4th, we plan to do there's a Christmas passport thing where we're going to go around, and I'm going to be blogging about businesses in the Fraser Valley, local businesses that I think that are well put together, well done. Oh, I forgot. I was going to put together a podcast on the Apple Barn. We were delighted. She was just such a great host when we were at the Apple Barn. Very, very knowledgeable, very, very helpful. And you got to check out their apple chips. They dry them so they're crispy like a potato chip. The other chips that you buy in the store are soft, but these are really, really crunchy. They're excellent. And we bought some apple cider, and so it was good. So I'm going to put together a podcast in the coming weeks about the Apple Barn. Until then, thank you so much. My name is Rick Holland, your host. Our phone number is 778-800-0246. You can also email us at abbotsfordsmallbusiness@gmail.com. If you have a suggestion that you want us to put up on the show, or research, or some kind of technology, let us know, and we'll certainly do our best to put that on the show. Until next time, thank you folks for watching. This is Rick Holland. Take care, and have a great day of business. Bye-bye.